So
All right, here we go. Welcome everyone to the last session of MVP Office Hours. It's December 20th. It's awesome to see all of you. Thanks for joining us. Go through the normal rigmarole. Remember that the success community is your best friend and the best way to contact us, as well as to get feedback and help when you need it. Having said that, if you need to reach out to Dale or Joy or myself, probably the best way to do that is through the LinkedIn links that are listed here, or in Success as well. Use those as you see fit. We do have an email. It's really a necessity for marketing. Don't use it. We just had a conversation before the session started. Normally we meet on the first and third Friday of every month, as most of you know. We are going to skip on the 3rd of January. Let's just give everybody the holidays to just recharge and do what they got to do, and that includes us. So we will see you on the 17th, but that doesn't mean that you can't get the help you need from the aforementioned success community on any time, any day, all those other So you all registered through Bitly. You know where that link is. Couple of ground rules we want to make sure we cover. Everyone is on this call for a reason, and it's because they're all MVPs at heart. And so share your experience, share your insights, share everything you know, put links in the chat, answer questions, ask questions. That's why we're here. You can raise your hand, you can speak up, you can put it in the chat. We'll organize the best we can. As you saw as the call started, however, we are recording, which means a couple of things. One, please don't share anything that's private or proprietary. It's going to be recorded forever and ever on the internet, and that's not good for all of us. It's also important that because it's recorded that we're going to have fun and be informal and giggle and laugh, but we want to be as professional and positive as possible because, again, we don't want anyone having repercussions because of an honest opinion, but one that shouldn't be recorded forever. And then lastly, as we mentioned when we started, we AI is the way of the world, but we cannot let this session be recorded or transcribed by Zoom for a variety of reasons. And so as a result, we usually are turning those things off as we're letting you in. If that's something that's important to you, unfortunately, we're going to have to ask you to drop. Keep in mind that the recording will be on YouTube. You can rewatch it. You can do whatever you want to with it after that, but just from just so we're all safe and secure and positive. So, all right. Having said that, and if I could activate my ability to use a Google slide deck. End of the year usually dies off with most of the sessions. Yesterday was Chicago World Tour. I think that's the last one of the series. So that means in January there's a couple community events coming up. Japan, Architect Dreaming, and Cactus Forest are both having the exact same time in Scottsdale. And then the long-term plan is, I didn't take World Tour off. Why didn't I take it off?
It's okay. It was just yesterday. I swear it was just yesterday. We're still we're kind of still there. It's okay.
Fair enough. I appreciate it. Yeah, the World Tour hangover is still in place. TDX was announced. Get those registrations in early. There's lots of discounts, lots of opportunities there.
With a certification.
I'm sorry?
With a certification.
That's
when you
true.
register for TDX, there's a discount code out there for like 199 registration, and then there's it comes with a certification voucher.
Thanks for calling that out. And personally, even if I retake a session, I think the boot camps are great. If you can make it a whole week and pound I don't know, Lightning Web Components in 3 days with some engaged in-person trainers, do that. And then usually they have a cert at the end of those as well. So highly recommend that. And then Education Summit is in Chicago in March, and Tableau Conference is in San Diego in March as well. Those are the big ones that are coming up. Unless I missed anything from the events site, does anybody know of anything in the near future that we need to call out?
Call for proposals for Mid-Atlantic Dream-In has opened. It's on May 5th, so not quite near term, but getting it on people's calendars now.
Yeah, there's a lot of call for speakers.
Sorry, Joy.
No, you're fine. There's a lot of call for speakers up. I don't know the rest of them right now, but I will. I'll work on that. But Michael, that's a solid call out.
I'll also point out that a lot of the community groups will be having their own Agentforce community tours in January, so watch for those.
Yep. I do know Chicago is holding ours. I forget the date. It's later in January. It's not the same day as MVP Office Hour.
And actually, I know, Michael, you usually do, but feel free to post your call for speakers in MVP Office Hours. We're happy to see those posts. We're all a big community, and that's a great way to use that. So feel free to do that.
in the community also. I see it in the chat, but also in the community, Michael. Thank you.
I bet you already did, but
I think you might have.
I
Actually,
think I did.
saw the email. I think I saw the email.
and with that, this big blank white screen suggests one of two things. Well, three things actually. Either everything's hunky dory and no one has any problems and need to be solved, or everyone's taken the rest of the month off, or Square is incapable of finding the questions that were in this test committee. So
No, it's all right. Michael's got a question. Of all the people, Michael's got a question. Michael, before we get started, quick reminder, Winter 25 maintenance came up. If you didn't get an email, maybe double check and go check out the certification maintenance trail mix, and I'll find the link and drop it in here also. But you have some time, but don't let your hard-earned certs go to waste.
great call.
Yeah. Yep. Michael, go ahead and knock our socks off with whatever you got.
So this one's hard to show or anything, and it's really going to end up being more of a theoretical question. But I have built and tested in a sandbox, but now in production I'm finding other things, because that's how it always goes. I built a holding object that gets imported to, and then using platform events are triggered, processes that object into other records. On the flow, there is an upsert object or upsert component, where one of the things that this object should do is upsert a contact who may already exist. I can't reproduce this because I can't make it happen when I try, only when I don't try. But the flow is sometimes failing when the upsert tries to upsert a contact and insert a unique ID that matches the unique ID on an existing record.
So like literally the standard upsert is failing? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Uh-huh.
Is there any chance that in production you've got a small number of records with non-unique upsert IDs, external IDs, where unique wasn't set on the field and it's a thing you would miss in the sandbox and would hit in production?
Case sensitivity?
So, well, it's definitely not case sensitivity because the unique IDs are just numbers. Interesting idea, Aaron. However, I can't find such a thing because when I've had this flow that failed, and then I've gone to the record in question singly and reprocessed it, not as a batch, it goes through just fine.
Is this a partial sandbox?
Actually makes then what Aaron's saying, right? If it's like not unique, it means that two records that theory makes sense that Aaron said if you can do it individually, that somewhere else it has that same thing. So
No, but I like the theory, but then when it processes, all those records manage to process if done in smaller batches, like singles or even 50 at a time or 100 at a time. But I guess they failed at 200. I can't figure it out, partly because platform events.
Are you running into issues with, because you're saying those are contacts, with them being multiple contacts off the same account? Or I don't know, like I've had an issue recently with some platform event stuff where I could process up to
150.
500 at a time, but once I went over 500, it just only processed 40 and made no sense.
I've definitely seen something like that, which I was wondering about.
Is this a
I guess
partial sandbox?
it was tested in a developer sandbox and is now in production, and it's in production that we found these problems. We never ran into it when trying, we uploaded a couple thousand test records, only a couple thousand.
Have you tried like the unofficial SF collection upsert?
I have not.
Like, you might want to try that one.
So question about that. The flow I'm building is a platform event triggered flow. So in theory, the flow is single record at a time. How would I even use that?
So I'm a little, I want to make sure I'm hearing something, because so the platform event, it's not that the platform event isn't published. It's there. It's
Correct.
the triggering flow, which is, and it's not like it's not a subflow or anything. It's like, it's literally platform event triggered flow. Nothing else is in flight when that happens, right? So,
Correct.
so everything right up until that triggering event seems legit, no problems. What is the upsert on?
Contact.
I'm sorry, what column? It's not just ID, like you're using another external ID?
Yeah, it's an external ID called LMS user ID.
How does that get generated?
It's from an external system, which is what we're trying to bring records in from.
So it's part of the event, you're saying?
Correct. It's a
Got it.
field, or it's no. Well, yes and no. There's right. I import to a holding object called buzz data upload. It's a field on there. That the publish of that triggers a platform event that just carries the ID of the buzz data upload. The platform event triggered flow, first thing it does is get the buzz data upload. So the platform event isn't carrying all the data. It's just carrying the ID of a record to go process.
Okay, so I'm with you. So the platform event bus will still publish all of the events in a batch internally, which means you might be dealing with a situation where even though you feel like you're triggering on a single event, it's triggering on a batch of events.
Yes.
That's the problem. They don't separate. I have this whole issue in my org. You need to publish the platform events as separate events in separate transactions. If you're publishing a group of platform events, they're going to process with flow in a batch sizes of multiple. They're not publishing separately or process. I'm not thumbs upping. Like, cause I have a giant complex integration where like that was the problem. And how I did it was I have a pick list on that, like what would be like your holding object that says like ready to process or not. And pretty much what I do is I have a flow that will update that to be ready to process. Then I have a record triggered flow off of that pick list that has a scheduled path with a delay of 1 minute, with a batch size there of 1, that publishes the platform event, which then makes it, because they don't for some reason want to let have a batch size control there. So essentially, like, I'm using the flow scheduled path batch size of 1. However, if you have a lot of records, you're going to run into a problem, possibly with Apex compiler, because we had a thing that plagued us for about 2 months where when Salesforce releases patch versions that causes a bit in your org to not be correct, if you don't manually recompile, it can then throw a weird error that just is like a YAC. And I literally just took 2 months with support to figure out. They added us to some pre-compile list to fix. But it's like, it just depends. It would happen randomly every week, and then it would be like all of them just start failing at night. So, best of luck.
Michael, can I ask a different question? Like, thank you for that, Andrew. I don't want to redirect too much, but so you're loading a table in Salesforce and then generating events from that table? Why?
Yes. So, well, to hopefully get around limits so that we could load lots of records to the table and not process them all in one transaction. But apparently they do get processed in one transaction, I just learned.
Well, I mean, because in the platform, it'll read all those as just a record upsert, like even though they're underscore E.
Right.
Are you able to just put the platform events in the platform event object with a REST call? Like if you're loading to an object in Salesforce, why not just put them directly into event?
Because I don't know how to do that. I have
Oh.
no idea. Like literally, practically don't understand what you just said.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Me too.
I thought I was telling you something. So, let's see. I'm gonna reverse engineer. So, you can use a REST API to actually put your events in the event bus from external. If that's what you're already doing, you don't have to stage them and then recreate the events just to do that. I don't know your infrastructure or skill set, but you're able.
How are you loading the staging table, Michael?
Right.
Like that staging object. What are you
Apsona.
using?
Apsona.
Apsona.
With the hope that one day it will be a flow HTTP call out.
I love that.
That's beyond my skills. So once we get this part built, we'll get some help to do that part.
I assure you that the HTTP call out is well within your skill set. I just went through a full training. In 15 minutes, you'd be done, I bet.
Okay. I mean, I get the idea behind it. I have
Yeah.
only played with it a little, and the real question is whether the API on the other end will play nice.
Yeah.
What's the, is it, can you say what the other one is? If it has open API, you can just use external services and it's even easier with like inflow.
It's
Because
called
H-
Agilix Buzz, B-U-Z-Z, like a bee, and probably is somewhat open. You know, we're with the one step at a time stage, and Aaron, I'm loading with Apsona so that the person who had been exporting from Buzz, manipulating in a table, uploading to Salesforce object by object, can now upload to one object.
So I haven't tried what Squire is suggesting in Apsona. But it would be worth checking to see if you could go directly into a platform event. As if it's any other object.
Right.
Just search for it, look for it by name. Is it there? And then you would just have to add all the fields for the object to the event.
yeah, but
Well, I
there's,
wouldn't literally at this, if what I'm understanding is you're saying instead of making a record triggered flow that publishes a platform event, I would load to my holding table and then manually publish a bunch of platform events.
You're not going to your holding table. You're going
You
right
want me to not
the
go to my,
platform.
but the holding table is built and the processing of it is built. So I'm not going backwards and
yeah,
putting
that's
all
fair.
those fields on a platform event. That's
even at that though, you
Fine.
shouldn't store fields like that on the platform event because there's no guarantee of delivery on platform events. Platform events can be lost. And if you store data in it, then you don't have a real way to reprocess. Having them as a separate object, at least you could have a dashboard of zeros that if there's ever events stuck, the record stuck there, or if there's errors processing, you can put the error message on the record in a field to view. So
That's
like
what
it's best to keep a platform event as not actually holding the data to it. The other thing is if you were going to try and do it, you still have to get down to a batch size of 1 essentially to be inserting them like that. I think the solution you need to, if you do like a pick list as like a processing status on each one, and then use a scheduled flow to actually be what fires the platform, right? Record triggered with a scheduled path with batch size of 1. That's what's going to get you past it treating it like a big batch.
Well, I'm going to challenge that, Andrew, because if you publish to the event bus out externally, they're not batched. The batching is happening because you're going from internal stage to event
Yeah,
bus.
but you have to assume that if you're okay with the record being missed, because if you publish a platform event, there's no guarantee that Salesforce actually executes said platform event. It can be lost. It's rare, very rare, but it can be. So
And
depends
so
on-
just to clarify what you're saying, so if the external service publishes an event, there's no guarantee that it was received by the event bus. Just like there's no guarantee that any record that you're loading to Salesforce is received. You have to handle that messaging, right? Is that what you're getting at?
But you don't get messaging. I think it's the concern.
Right.
it gets published and it goes over the event bus and then nothing listens to it. Sometimes the flow or the Apex subscriber will just not hear it and you don't know. Whereas a record, you'll get a return of a record ID when you publish record ID. And I think even in that case, you'll get a return of the ID of your platform that you fired, but the event never, it's very rare. Like we're talking, some people will never see it happen in their life of it not actually happening, but it happens. But even at that though, your logic's all built already on the custom object. I wouldn't go rebuild all that. It's a lot of effort.
So if I'm so this, first of all, I don't want to, if other people have questions, like I'm happy to cut this off.
You're good. You're good. There's no questions. We're going to talk about like your favorite Christmas candy in a minute. So,
So if I'm understanding, so first of all, thank you everyone. I've not figured out why the duplicate value but I can't replicate, so it's going to be hard to debug. But if I'm understanding correctly, here's what I have, and what I'm understanding, Andrew, you're saying I should do, which would be really easy, and I like it. Currently, I have a record triggered flow on the holding table that just immediately publishes a platform event. You're saying move that to a scheduled path with a batch size of 1. So my client will upload 50,000 records in Apsona in batches of 200, nice and quick. And then my flow that processes them will go a little slower with the platform events, and they'll be separated into true single transactions. I love it.
Yeah. So essentially just you instead of it being the record, just move your thing that fires it over to a scheduled path with a 1 minute delay. It adds a minute delay to your processing, but like,
Can I do a 0 minute delay? That's my favorite.
honestly, if I should go try that, it might actually help. I didn't realize you can do 0.
You can do 0. I do it all the time.
The other way to test it too is try using like data loader or an inspector and just put your insert as batch sizes of 1. Because if you
Yeah.
do a test insert as batch size of 1 and it doesn't hit the limit, essentially that will be the kind of the same thing.
Right.
If you
Yeah, I
do
think
the
they-
inserts,
Sorry.
that was it.
The other thing I was thinking about, just in terms of like what are the actual underlying causes, like the other couple of things I might check for are you getting, because it's not single record, it is batched record that's coming through the flow. Are you picking up places where you've got the same upsert ID coming in twice in the right now? I'm back into a transaction. Am I upserting to the same record twice?
That's possible because some students are in 2 classes. So if
And then you would get
that makes
the other
sense.
thing. I mean, the other place would be, if you're hitting some kind of locking error.
I wasn't getting a row lock error, but again, maybe. But what the fundamental thing that I learned here is the platform events are published or at least processed as a batch.
While you're inside Salesforce, not outside, inside.
Got it.
And it can, like, for triggers, at least it can go to 2000.
it's
It's not
that
a,
it's
it's not the
flow.
nice standard 200. I think flow
Flow.
is 200, but triggers is 2000.
Platform event triggered flows is the limitation, to be clear. That doesn't allow you to subscribe with a batch size. That's the gap. There's an idea on it. We'll never do it though. Actually, Diana Jaffe, I think, might be the owner on it.
Probably.
I completely off tangent. It's bugging me though, Michael. So the Apsona data isn't, like, I'll call it Salesforce ready. The landing table in the platform does that persist after you process it?
Yes.
And why? Like, what is it doing for you after you process it into what you want it? Like, what do you get out of that storage?
I think mostly what Andrew was saying, which is I can't lose this thing, which and the ability to see the state, and also, and this is love to learn from the collective hive mind, but from discussions with Chris Pfeiffer, I actually broke up my processing of this record. I'll give the quick version. The record comes in with essentially account, which is like school, program at the school, classroom, enrollment to a program, and student, and some stuff about many of them. So I process it in pieces. So one platform event first, find the right school, fire a new platform event, now find the program, fire a new platform event, now find the enrollment if it doesn't exist, upsert one, teacher, blah, 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 blah. And I go through and I show the matching as you go through. So in the end, all of the matched fields are filled, but if it stopped halfway, I know I need to reprocess it, but also, like, if it's like, I couldn't find a school because there was no program, I write that to a field.
So I'm gonna guess, because you can't control how the events are actually processed when you're listening to the event buses, you might not actually be having an issue with the contact update itself. It might be trying to load a contact before the account's there or something. Like, it's not guaranteed sequential, even as you're processing that. So, like, there's the account, make an event. There's the contact, make the event. There's no guarantee that the contact doesn't try to update first. Events just have like this weird, like.
But the first, I understand.
You
what
have them
you're saying.
chained,
That's interesting.
Michael,
That's
right?
fascinating, but I think in my case, it can't be the case because the first event that's triggered runs down the path and figures out if the account is there and updates the holding object.
Yep.
And then fires a new event. Flow
Right.
done. flow
Oh.
starts again.
So the account process creates an event that then after that one process, it creates an event. Like you're basically cycling through the same. Interesting.
Yes, I can show you the event.
That's
I-
okay.
I think Chris was
It's a
giving you the
nightmare.
fix to the issue Squire was flagging is
Right.
it's just fire your events in sequence like that to
Oh, I see.
avoid the fact that you can't fire them.
Like you're not upserting multiple, right? In the individual, like the one when you're actually doing the upsert, it's the single upsert because they don't have multiple record upsert right now, correct? Like when you do the upsert, it's this you're upserting a single one contact record in like that.
Correct.
Just put a get records before on the
well,
get records, check if the record's found and send an email to yourself if it's found.
I understand. When I built the damn thing and tested it, I was like, this is what upsert is for. I don't need a freaking get records and a check and all that
Well, I
bullshit.
know what I'm saying, to
because that's what
troubleshoot it, though.
upsert is for.
Yeah.
But to troubleshoot it though, I would just put a get records and then put a decision, was it found, and then send an email because it's really hard to monitor. The other thing is that
Right.
subflows make it a lot easier to test, but you can't use those in platform event trigger flows.
Yes.
So yeah.
All right, we could beat this thing to death, Michael. I don't want to keep pushing on you.
No,
Are you in a
I
good
think
spot to start? Or hand
Andrew's
off?
trick is gonna save me, I think, and I can't reproduce the upsert duplicate problem. I've tried.
Right.
So I think if I can use Andrew's trick to break it truly into singles, I think I'm done and I won't think about it again.
If you have a problem, just message me on Slack. I'll help you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. We have anything else going on?
See any other questions?
Well, we're just looking to solve everyone else's problems today. I mean, Michael, you brought the big one, but it's fantastic. I love it. I love it. In other news, I went and took a run at the AI specialist exam on Thursday, after having studied like way back in September. And the time that I had reallocated to studying was not enough. And then to add insult to injury, the dog Taka was up for hours, like every hour the night before. And so I couldn't reschedule the exam. I am pleased to share with you that I did not pass. But I also pulled a, college lecture head nod at an in-person exam testing center. So I'm literally like reading the exam and I went, what? And it was at that moment that I realized there was no chance that I was passing that exam. So I thought you would all appreciate this, this little story, but I would have rescheduled if I had had time to like do that. And Taco's okay. He has a checkerboard shaving on his back right now because of some hives or bites, but he'll be okay too. So it's just thought you'd all enjoy this. Life happens. Things come up and Joy falls asleep at a testing center.
Joy, I'm gonna add to your like comical week. My feedback for World Tour Chicago was that we should have more sessions at the end of the day so that we can have beverages during presentation because they're so much more fun. And I just left it there. So we'll see what happens.
Do you want me to share, Squire, with what happened?
Only if you want to share.
So at World Tour yesterday, for those of you that are at all familiar with how these shake out, there's sessions all day, there's in the theater, there's in breakout rooms and whatnot. I did a session at 9:00 with my friend Blanca, who leads the architect group in Chicago. I did another session at 3:30 about managed surge with agentic service at 3:30. At like 3:45, 4 o'clock, the beer and wine came out on the floor. And there were people just kind of like chilling, waiting for my 4:30 session. And I was like, so if you're waiting for us, you got time to run over to the bar? And they did. And they came back and wine was handed to me also. So I am a little bit, I don't know what the right word is. There's a word here that it's not embarrassed. It's like
No, not embarrassed.
comedy. comedy. But Mike and I gave our presentation on certifications under the hoodie while having a beverage. It was great.
There was nothing better than having Mike give his spiel while holding a Modelo the whole time. It was perfect.
I mean, if you all have seen me roll my eyes, let me tell you, it was happening. It was happening a lot, and we had some great, really great audience participation. And we also had Gilda Hilaire in the house, and she dropped a like a surprise on me, and she's like, check your phone. I'm like, I don't know where my phone is. And I was like, what? And she's like, do you want to give away 3 vouchers? I'm like, yeah. So we were able to give away 3 certification vouchers at the end of World Tour yesterday. So it was a super great session. It was a great day. And I'm not wearing it, but I got a new hoodie. It's navy blue with like a holographic agent. Is it Agent Blazer? I think it says.
Yep.
Yes. And it's a hoodie. It is not a zip up hoodie. It's a pullover. But it's super heavyweight. And if you can get your hands on one, I highly suggest it because they're cozy. Mine's dirty and has like my seasonal name tag on it somewhere. You know, because my name's Joy. So December, I get to wear a seasonal name tag. Anyhow, yesterday was a lot of fun. It was great to see Squire. I saw a lot of other folks in person too. I don't know. Y'all need to come see me in Chicago. Come visit. Pat. Oh, it's not that far, Pat. I know where you live. Mostly.
I'm in Florida right now.
Oh, you stay in Florida then. Don't you dare come to Chicago.
I'm here till like the 28th, so I think I'm gonna miss all the bad weather.
That's fantastic.
Hey,
Well, and you had a great session Wednesday too, you said, right, Joy?
Oh yeah. So the expanded Chicago area Trailblazer community holds a holiday event each year. This was our 10th year doing this. And so we have an admin group, an architect group, women in tech group, nonprofit group. I'm missing, the Chicago Slat group. And Salesforce Saturday folks, well, they cross-pollinate anyway. But we had about 100 people show up at that, was it the other night, Wednesday night? What day is it, Squire? It's Friday.
Yeah.
It was really great. And we gave away some portable monitors. We gave away a Meta headset. We gave away some headphones. We gave away AirTags. We had a lot of swag that we were able to give away. And so it was a good time. I'm really glad that everyone made it out, and y'all make my heart swell. I just, I can't do it all for everyone all the time. Just come see us. If you're in Chicago, let us know. And if you're up in Wisconsin, let Squire know so that we can see if there's a meeting that we can connect in person.
Yep.
Linda, I'll see you at TDX, right? All right. And Zap, I'll see you at TDX too.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited for TDX.
And Andrew will be at TDX. And what about you, Aaron?
Well, wait, Andrew, that was an I don't know. What do you mean I don't know?
That's a load of crap. He'll be there.
I'm registered, but TBD. Is it Trailblazer? I haven't seen Trailblazer in any piece of marketing.
What?
Unless they can come up with
Go.
some word that means agent that starts with a T.
Agent Blazer. They're gonna diversify, and it's gonna be Service Blazer, Agent Blazer, Data Blazer. That's what you're gonna start to see. It's Trailblazer is like the overlapping thing, and all the verticals.
I mean, it might get rebranded, but I'll see you in San Francisco. How's that? Hey, I am open to all the things, like whatever you gotta call like my career pathing, like whatever this is fine.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see, waiting for talk announcements to come out, and getting support for attendance will be
We're waiting for that too, but
It'll
I'm
be in
going
early
in.
December.
Did you
It'll be
submit?
early December though.
It is
It is
early
past
December.
Early December, Andrew. We're past the halfway mark.
Well, I'm
Early
just
December
saying
is
what
fine.
it said when they would notify everyone.
Cactus Force just sent theirs like 3 days ago, and their conference is like 6 weeks earlier than TDX. So,
It's,
Yeah.
I mean, now it just says December, so I figure by the end of like the week after next, it should be there.
I mean, the first week of January, we'll get them. So if everyone else is like happy go lucky, you got no problems with your world right now, like I think we're gonna like wrap this up early and you know, I mean, unless you want to send me your favorite cookie recipe, but you're going to send it to me. You're not going to walk us through.
What
I
is
don't
success? Share it with the world.
I thought
Yeah.
I thought cookies were being deprecated.
Not in my kitchen, sir.
see
Not
what you
in my
did
kitchen.
there.
I got cookie recipes if you need them.
I love cookie recipes. I mean, my fastest like cheat is like, give me a tub of Toll House dough and I just plop a ball of it on top of an Oreo and it's so good. So good. Bake that for 12 to 14 minutes. I'm such a
We
cheater.
need a repeat of Andrew trying to decorate cookies in a video.
I'm at my mom's in Florida, so we're making cookies tomorrow. She decided last year that was kind of like her last year of making cookies. She turned 90 this year, and
Wow.
typically she would start at Thanksgiving, right after Thanksgiving, and make cookies up through Christmas. But she said no, she's done, which I'm like, great, because I don't want to hear the. "Ah." So we're making cookies tomorrow. And here's a tip. If you ever see Gilda's going to be speaking somewhere, go to it, get on it, because she's the queen of giving away certification
She's
vouchers.
our fairy swag mother,
Yes.
swag mother. So
Yep.
Guild is amazing. So, all right, friends, you have a great, great couple weeks. We'll see you mid-January, the third week in January, January 17th.
Yep.
The right magic number. So all the holidays, all the things, and Happy New Year. And thank you for being part of our community. We love you guys. Bye. Oh, look at all the hearts go. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right.
Bye, all.
Later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.